there's this guy meeting us at the entrance of the township, and he was our guide that day. Before we went on the tour, I didn't really know what a township was. He told me they were pretty extensive in South Africa, not uncommon at all. And what I came to realize was that so many people and children lived there by need, not by choice. They had nothing. If you had to say one thing to those 19,000 children that died today from preventable causes, what would that be?
What can you say? How can I say anything sat here on my bed with my lovely things around me and even begin to imagine what they and their families have gone through?
I wish they could have seen this spectacular view. Just by standing there, I was inspired and motivated to pursue our wildest goals and dreams in life. I even witnessed a guy proposing to the love of his life up there. They were so happy and we all applauded them. They really cared about each other. As I stood up there, looking down at small pieces moving in the tiny streets, I remember asking myself, how can mankind build a 70-story skyscraper in 1939 and not be able to save 19,000 children a day from death due to lack of food and medicine in 2014? Most of you die in areas far away from what would be described as society in the part of the world I live in. Maybe that's why nobody really seemed to notice you. I will most likely never see or experience it firsthand, but most of you die a horrible death. Dying from a painful disease or because you haven't had enough food is reality every single day for 19,000 of you. The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. Franklin D. Roosevelt. We all remember September 11th, 2001. I was just a kid, sitting and watching this terrible tragedy unfold across the globe. When I went to the beautiful and harmonic memorial in New York, I thought about all the innocent victims that day. How unfair it was. None of them deserved to die that day. I hope that one day people will remember and give thoughts to the 19,000 children dying on a daily basis, exactly the way they remember the heroes and victims of 9/11. One of the guides was about my age, and I remember that made a huge impression on me, because he had never had the chance to go to school. He had never had the chance to be taught in so many things. And it was obvious he was very grateful for even the smallest things he had, and he didn't have much. I love democracy. What a privilege to be a part of. What I've realized though is that countries work for their so-called own interests. This is not a statement that's hidden, and most politicians take pride in saying they will work for their own country's interests in political organs such as the EU or UN. I will never understand that. I'm a citizen of the world, not a country. I dream of a world where the degree of caring from others is not based on which part of the world you were born in. I care just as much about the well-being of a child from Denmark as of a child from Sierra Leone or Cambodia. But Jacob, you must realize you can't save the entire world. People tell me. I know that. Then I realize how sad it is that everyone says that, because nobody ends up trying. But hey, I'm just young and naive, right? How often do you see global poverty in the Australian news?
Not too often. I mean, you see it every now and again, but it's like, I know it's happening, but I guess it's old news sort of thing. Like the news, they want the next big story, whereas the poverty is an ongoing issue and it's not new.
Not long ago, I attended a basketball game in Madison Square Garden in New York. So much action and a hectic atmosphere created by 19,200 spectators attending this game. After the game, I stayed to watch the crowd disappear. It happened so quickly. Within a split second, screaming and shouting fans, and 19,200 of them, was replaced by dead silence. I can't believe a sold-out Madison Square Garden of children take their last breath every single day. Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for our equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. Martin Luther King Jr. Sometimes I reflect upon what it was that gave me the opportunities in life that I've had. It comes down to geography, where I was born. I never had to worry about shelter, food, safety, education or health issues. All of these were taken care of for me, because I was so fortunate to be born in a place of the world where that stuff was something everyone had. As I became older, I came to realize those aren't things everyone around the world can take for granted. It must be a minority of the world, though, that has little food, shelter and safety, right? I understand that to be a convenient way of thinking, so we can continue living our lives with our luxury problems. But the truth is, it's an enormous part of the world. 19,000 children close their eyes today for the last time, mainly because of the geographical place they were born. Are the ones that are born in luckier geographical places to be blamed for this? Absolutely not. But do they have a responsibility to do something? Let me put it this way. If I was born in Chad, where most of the 11 million people live in extreme poverty, I wish that someone from a far more fortunate place had felt an obligation to do everything they could to help me. Approximately every second child in Chad suffers from chronic malnutrition. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but there's a good chance this is the first time you hear about the country Chad, right? The world is a great place. I have so much fun here. I'm currently in America as an exchange student from my home university in London. After having lived and studied in 3 different countries, I've learned a lot about myself, but even more about the world I'm a part of. People, cultures. I could tell so many great things about these. But what overshadows everything for me is the lack of perspective. What people perceive as a so-called problem. I'm not just talking about my own generation. I'm not saying people can't be sad over something just because they have a roof over their head, a full fridge, and no war outside their house. Everybody has problems, and I fully understand and respect that. What I question is the degree it affects them. I could burst into tears every time I think of the 19,000 children who died from preventable causes yesterday, today, and again tomorrow. I seem to be a part of a minority by doing or thinking of this. That's when I turn from being sad to angry. Katie, you traveled to Malaysia. What was your experience of poverty there?
It was a bit hard-hitting, really. We went and met with some friends we knew from university, and we were in this cocktail bar, sat outside, and when it came to paying, everyone was flashing their credit cards, trying to fight to be the one that could pay and provide for our group of friends. And then the next minute we know there's this kid who's had his eyes gouged out by obviously his parents or something. And I asked my friends why, and apparently he goes around and begs and they get a better success rate if their eyes have been gouged out, and it's horrible, and it's just from the set-go, as soon as they're born, that's their life. They have to beg, they can't be expected to do anything else. It was really horrible. So that was sort of my first experience of poverty. It was horrible.
The structure of world peace cannot be the work of one man, or one party, or one nation. It must be a peace which rests on the cooperative effort of the whole world. Franklin D. Roosevelt. I remember every single step of that walk. I don't remember a single word the guy said. I was too busy noticing. I had an expectation of what to see based on what I've heard. However, the reality I saw was a very different thing. I remember the moment I shut the car door and we drove away. We were 7 people in that car, yet I have never experienced a silence like that. I say that because it was obvious we all thought about the exact same thing. Yes, that walk did change my life. Some way I'm grateful for that, because it made me pay attention and prioritize what I had just seen. I remind myself of that township tour in South Africa every single day. What really made an impression on me was the kids around there. A lot of them were really happy. They had nothing to play with, but found whatever could make them happy. Played around with rocks and grass for all sorts of games. And it just struck me there. It's funny how that coincidence of being born somewhere in the world has such a great impact on your opportunities in life and your perspectives on life. I truly wish that if I was born in a township like that, and most likely never would get the opportunity of education, a good health, clean water every day, enough food every day, safety every day. I really wish someone in another part of the world would do everything they could to change this. And I'm not talking about controlling their lives. I'm not talking about deciding what is right and what isn't right. But it can't be a question whether or not you should have food or clean water. Everybody should have that. Everybody. I know this problem is very complex, and everyone actually cares about it. Every developed country provides aid for those less developed. That's also why no single individual or nation can be blamed. It's all about prioritizing. Forgotten 19,000 will remain forgotten, and a number of 19,000, until the very day that all of us, the average people of all countries, start to prioritize these children higher than they do today. I see more people caring about what outfit they wear and if their favorite sport team won the championship than I see people caring about 19,000 children that die from preventable causes. Just because we don't really see or hear you in the large picture doesn't mean you're not there. I know that. You can't tell me or anyone else because you're probably busy trying to survive the pain you're in. Wherever you go with the other 19,000, let them know that you will not be forgotten anymore. I remember when we were about to end the township tour. We see this kid standing in front of a closed shop. And he was just standing there, very still, looking into the shop. And he was very young, and it made a huge impact on me. That could have been me right there. It could have been any one of my friends standing there. But by coincidence, I wasn't born in a place like that, and by coincidence he was. And I understand it's difficult to provide the same opportunities for every single child in the world. But it was pretty apparent for this guy that he had never been given as much as a small fraction of the opportunities I've been given in life. It wasn't fair. Not at all.
I'll never forget beautiful Africa. Beautiful Botswana. Botswana. Beautiful Botswana. Botswana. I shall never forget.